Hello and welcome, everybody, to At the Heart of It All podcast with myself, spiritual and consciousness coach, Odette. Today, we are going to be doing a live coaching call with a beautiful individual who has chosen the pseudonym of Kim. We hope that you enjoy it and that you're able to resonate with the information and possibly receive nuggets of gold for your own ascension and evolution. So here we go. Alrighty. So happy to be here with you on this day. We're just going to invite you to take a moment, connect to your breath, feel your body's weight, and allow yourself to breathe deeply, consciously. Release all expectations, release all nervousness, release the day. And just come to this moment right here, right now. Feeling yourself breathe, feeling that you have a body. And as you are paying attention to it, notice any areas that might feel stressed. And breathe into them, exhaling through the mouth, releasing all that no longer serves your highest good. Release any and all tension in the forehead, behind the eyes. Release the tightness in the jaw. Release the shoulder blades. Breathe deeply into these areas, exhaling, releasing. Let go of the spine. Let go of the tension in all the abdomen area. Invite for the whole body to relax. And if any area still feels like it has some tension, just breathe into that area specifically. And in this moment, try not change it. Just observe it and just be with that area. Just acknowledge it. And instead of trying to force a release, I invite you to actually embrace and smile towards that energy because it's there for a reason. And you can let it know that you see it. And you thank that energy for assisting you to hold perhaps energy that has not been fully processed. And as we give it gratitude, you may notice that a certain sensation occurs from those particular areas. And whatever it is, if it's a release or if it's a tightening, either way does not matter. We simply accept, we acknowledge, and we hold presence with the true state of where we are in this moment, where our body is in this moment. And we invite for the whole body to know that we are paying attention, that it is not a war between it and us. And we give it gratitude and thanks for absolutely everything that it does for us, every single moment of every single day. Gratitude for everything it has done for us, for all the energy it absorbs, for all the experiences it allows, and even for the knowing of ourselves as an identity. Continue breathing deeply, now focusing on the whole body again. And as you breathe, accepting who you are and where you are, we invite you to imagine roots of a tree moving down from your spine, down to the earth, and into the earth, grounding, connecting with her, and breathing up, breathing in her nutrients, nurturance, her stability, abundance, her wisdom, her awakening, plenty. Breathing it up back into the body, not leaving the earth, but lengthening this energy back into yourself. I invite you to take 3 full breaths. Anchor this energy into your heart center, anchoring this groundedness, this energy, this perspective. And when you've taken the 3 breaths, if you feel fully connected with the heart, Then and only then we invite you to gently open your eyes if you've had them closed, and we are ready to begin when you are. So just let us know. How was that for you?
Um, I felt like I did some releasing in my left leg. It felt pretty tense, and I feel that it's loosened up a little bit. I also felt a little sadness, and my eyes started to water as if I were gonna cry.
Yeah, we felt that. What's going on? Why the sadness?
I've been waking up early and just sitting in meditation, but I feel like I'm having a battle with myself about meditating. There's a separation from my body and my mind, I feel. And I've been doing it since the new year. And some days are better than other, but I feel like I'm frustrated with myself because I feel like I'm not connecting with when I'm meditating. And I don't know if it's just in my mind, but for this meditation, it felt good to be in it. And I feel that's where the sadness came from.
Mm, mm. Lovely. Thanks for sharing. So, I mean, first of all, congratulations for being here, and congratulations for you taking yourself each morning to sit, whether in your head it was successful or not, simply because of the intent that you have to connect with your soul. That's what matters. The ego mind would want to, mind you, the negative polarity of the ego. We'll call it the mind, right? For now, but really it's a destructive aspect of part of that egoic self that isn't all bad. But this part
Mhm.
is, and that it would judge you in saying that you need to do meditation in a certain way, and that it is either good or it is bad or it is successful or it is not successful. So some right off the bat advice that comes up is, if something is just not working for you, especially when it comes to connecting with the divine, we would say leave it. The divine is not that hard to feel or come across. It's your natural state of being. It doesn't need torture. It doesn't need hours of sitting in lotus posture. It doesn't require anything, really, but the leaving behind, the letting go of all the shoulds, of all the images, of all the pictures that we have of obtaining it. Just going out for a walk and smelling a flower can literally be you connecting with your higher self. It has nothing to do with being inside and meditating. One of the best ways of achieving that soul connection is actually through, like, the innocence of a child, of the joy, moments that bring you joy and innocence. The old paradigm is one of having to sit for hours and fast for hours and, hit your head against a wall for years and years and years. And frankly, who wants that?
Mhm.
It's miserable. Now, it's not to say that there aren't some good meditations out there and that some people click with it and they're good, right? But that's
Mhm.
not everyone, not at all. How does that sound just so far?
Good.
Okay. So the beautiful thing is your intent, that you have it. The second would be that you're becoming more aware of the fact that there's thought systems in you that believe that there are right and wrong ways of connecting with soul, and that you would be willing to suffer and still accept it. right? So if you're
Mhm.
suffering one day and you say, oh, bad on me, dang, but you get up again, you do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. That means that there's a belief there that says that that is what you have to do, and that somehow that connection to God has to be difficult and challenging and painful. And it isn't, not unless that's what you believe. And you really don't have to believe that. Yes, there are some effective meditations, and they are effective for some people at some points in their lives. But that doesn't mean that even the fact that maybe a meditation was really good for a person for 10 years doesn't mean that they can't outgrow it, right? It's when we get
Mm.
stuck in patterns of thinking this is the only way that we become more rigid and unfortunately suffer. So we invite you to, yes, ponder this information, maybe spend some time journaling. What are the things that I have thought in my life need to cost me, need to be difficult? Things that really maybe don't have to be difficult, that maybe don't have to cost me. And by cost, clearly, we're not speaking of just monetary, right? But
Right.
something that makes you suffer. And then why it is that I would believe that God would want me to do that. That source energy, that creation energy, why would I think that it is challenging? Because really, it is all that is. It is all around you. It is everything.
Mhm.
And we would say it's not that source energy at all is challenging. Rather, it is the belief system that you have that is making you see things in a challenging way. Oh. The next bit that we would invite you to do is to start playing with the concept that source energy is easy to feel. That source energy is natural. It's natural. It's in each and every breath. It is sitting in present moment awareness as you're eating a fruit and smelling it and eating it and savoring the deliciousness of it and being present in that moment where you feel gratitude. Gratitude is a great way to feel source energy. What comes up for you? What are you feeling and
Um,
thinking?
I feel like I do have moments of that. I I just think I allow my ego sometimes to um, step in and not trust fully what I feel. Because I feel like I do a lot of moments throughout the day where I have a lot of joyful moments, and I know that source is around me.
Sure. And living it and experiencing it. So, as best you can, release the old shame of feeling like you couldn't meditate. Maybe that just wasn't the right form for you in that moment, you know?
Right.
Let it go. And it doesn't mean that it may never be. It might be 2 weeks from now, 5 years from now, 30 years from now. It's just not right here, right now. Some of the best meditations that we've come across are actually in sports,
Mm.
sports that make you be so present, or you have to be present. Because if not, you're not
Mhm.
going to catch the ball, or you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to be present. If you miss that moment of presence, you might get hurt. So all of your awareness comes to the moment of what you're doing. That's why so many athletes are addicted to their sport. It's because they feel that connection. It's the same thing with artists. There are infinite ways of connecting with the self. The best way that we can describe is personally doing the things that you're naturally called to do that bring you joy. we can see you walking on the beach, and that bringing you a great sense of peace and joy. That is one of the most beautiful meditations ever. Do more of those. And don't put the connection with yourself and divinity in a box. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that feel doable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. What else?
I feel like consistency. I lack that in some way. Like I'll do something and I'm noticing it's a pattern that sometimes I'll do it for a few days, sometimes I'll do it for a few weeks, and really it doesn't go past a few weeks.
Mm.
And it could be something that I absolutely love doing, like going to the beach. Sometimes I feel like I just make an excuse why I don't do it. And I'm not sure if that's the main reason is me just making excuses
Mm.
for not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, these are great. These are really great. I'm so glad that you bring these up because it naturally shows actually a great sense of consciousness in you that is aware of it and observing yourself. Even though, yeah, there is a negative aspect that is judging you for it. There's also just the you that is smart enough and intelligent and conscious enough that sees it and says, hey, this is what's happening. So that's really good. And it's important for you to realize both so that you don't just fall into the polarity of negative self-judgment. Now, consistency is it's an interesting one because it takes an authentic review of oneself that only you can really do with yourself
Mhm.
to know your parameters of continuity. Questions that we would ask would be, do I do the things that are really needed? Am I consistent there? In, let's say, like emergency situations, do I do the things that I need to take care of myself? The other question I would ask is, what is the thing that I am consistent at? If there are areas in my life where consistency does exist, I should know that. So for example, here, you're seeing a pattern that's consistent, that you're inconsistent. You're consistent with that. Does this make sense?
Mhm. Yes.
Now, again, there's the different polarities. There's the positive, there's the negative. The aspect of knowing that you're not consistent should help you understand that that's a bit of a natural flow that you embody. It's a very feminine energy. It's one that isn't always happy, isn't always motivated, isn't always on, isn't always feeling ready to do the 9 to 5. The feminine energy is a lot more like, I can be all over the place. In this moment, I feel like, mm, you know, painting this picture. And I go all in and I do a picture and I'm like, gosh, that was great. But the mind will come in and say, well, this is what I should do forever and ever.
Mm.
Now that I know that I liked painting, why haven't I done it? I should do this every week. And it tries to control it and put it in the box. But the feminine energy is like, no, no. Now I want to do cooking. And you spend the next week or so in the kitchen. And then everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're the greatest cook. This is what you should do. And then the next week it's, I love bird watching, whatever.
Mm.
That is actually a beautiful thing. And it is demonized, we would say, in the very structured masculine society of the West, where you're supposed to do the 9 to 5. You're supposed to stick with the painting and only do painting. But the feminine energy is very different. The feminine energy is, I can do it all and excel, because we do. We just do things differently. So that's the first part that we think is important for you to know. It's the embracing and the acceptance of that as a natural part of you that you can look at and say, yay, this week I feel like painting. And yay, next week I feel like being a master skydiver. When you do find something that you resonate with, you'll do it. Just like you're choosing to switch from one thing to another, you're doing it because naturally you're resonating with something else.
Mhm.
So if there is something that decides to stick, it will. And if it doesn't, let it go. The next time that it is right, it may come back in. But this doesn't give this judgmental expectation of boundaries on you, on whether you're a good person or a bad person because you're doing it or you're not. Does this make sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
So allow the fluidity. Allow yourself to show yourself to yourself. And everything that you do engage in, try and engage in it in the most present way possible. Give it your all when you're doing that one thing, because it brings you joy, because it brings you pleasure, because it brings you the inner sense of satisfaction. Now, another thing that we want to bring to light is that in your consciousness development, we know that it may have seemed erratic in your life, and yet the reality is that it's always been there. The connection with soul, the connection to connect, the desire to connect, and the connection that you have with spirit. Regardless of how it's looked or not, that has been consistent. And you consistently go back to it. Now, yes, the masculine side of consistency, that does present good structure that helps us move forward in things that do require a type of consistency, right? To become a master at anything takes application of the same topic for some time, right? The different
Mhm.
layers and levels of understanding. But in a way, it's a different topic. And that would be something that we're asking in this moment. Are you feeling that aspect as well in your life, where there isn't a positive structure of consistency in something that would really assist you moving forward?
Mm. Yes, I believe so.
Like what? They could be as simple as not waking up early enough to embrace the day.
I feel like maybe not using my time wisely enough.
Okay.
But I think I feel like I should be doing more with my life.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I
Yeah.
have so many ideas that and things that I want to do, and I feel like there's an aspect of me that is so overwhelmed with all of it that I do nothing, and I kind of feel stuck.
Mm,
And then and what comes in is I'll pick one thing and that's it. I'll do it for a little bit, and it's almost as if I get bored with it or it doesn't interest me, and then I just do nothing.
mm. Okay. So there's a lot here. There's a lot of energy
I
here.
know.
But the good thing is that, again, we can have multiple sessions. So that's not an issue. baby steps, baby steps, baby steps are really the only way to get to know the self and to move forward consciously. So we speak to the overwhelm that's occurring. You have all these ideas, right? And because you have so many ideas, it's like, well, I should be doing them. But there's so many of them that it's just like, where do I even start? And it seems like the ones that you've started with seem to be almost band-aids. It's just like, or not even but it's like from sheer will
Mm.
you've engaged in those things, even though you're not crazy about it, even though you're still in overwhelm, even though you're terrified about the overall picture. But you are trying to plow through with the masculine energy that just wants to engage in it. But because the whole bubble of overwhelm hasn't been literally looked at and spoken to directly, it's just too much. And because the one thing that you went forward with was it's not really doable, right? You can't really sustain doing something for a long period of time if it's leading to exhaustion, if it's being done in overwhelm, if it's not a real conversation with the larger picture. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that has actually radically changed my life recently, that I share with you is I think most of us creatives, you know, we have a million different projects all at once that we want to do. And we also have a sense of urgency of wanting to do it, to fulfill a purpose-filled life.
Mhm.
It's really challenging when you have so much and when we have this mental picture of all the shoulds that we should get done, that need to get done. It's so overwhelming that we don't even know where to begin. I used to tell myself, well, if I could get, let's say, an overwhelming project, if I could do 1 hour of it a day, just 1 hour,
Mhm.
that should move me forward. And I will give myself 1 hour of, let's say, 4 days a week, right? There's plenty of space here
Mhm.
for other activities, other things. I'm just like, that seems pretty minimal, right? 4 hours a week. But that is the same thing that we think you were doing with, I just want to try something. The truth is, 4 hours
Mhm.
a week is not doable for me. It's not.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's absolutely not. In fact, the 1 hour chunks of time that I kept on telling myself, I got to do this for 1 hour a day, kind of like that meditation, right? I've got to
Mhm.
do it. I've got to do this 1 hour a day. I postponed it. I postponed it. I postponed it. I
Mhm.
went weeks with not doing that 1 hour a day
Yeah.
and feeling terrible about myself and being like, there must be something wrong. Like, come on. Because I know that when I really want something, I do it.
Mhm.
What I learned about myself was that a much more doable approach, as ridiculous as it sounds, it's changed my life, is I give myself 5 minutes a day to do something.
Mm.
That overwhelming project. 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes. To me, that felt more doable.
Right.
And what I would do is sit and start doing it for 5 minutes. And then I do have an urge to get up and do something or to change the energy a little bit, to snuggle with my kitty, to get a cup of tea. And then, how about I do another 5 minutes? and I go back to do another 5-minute window.
Mm.
And in a matter of a day, those 5-minute windows of just 5-minute times ended up being a lot more than just 1 hour.
Mhm.
It's finding your own window of time that feels comfortable to you. It could be a minute. It could be 12 minutes of finding what feels comfortable for you to go towards something, to enact in it, and come back to it. How does this sound and feel to you?
That feels doable. Yeah. It feels way less overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in psychology terms, it's called the window of tolerance.
Mm.
And it's just how much you can focus on amount of time. And myself being so sensitive and being so open to energies, a lot of things catch my attention. And so sitting down to, let's say redo a website is just like, how?
Mhm.
Right? And it literally is just 5 minutes. It's just I'm gonna sit down for these 5 minutes and just see different colors, see which ones call me, which ones I like. And again, if it's usually, the kiddies or the girls who just need a snuggle or have information or whatever, and I'll tend to it. Not for very long
Mhm.
before I'm just like, oh, I want to do that again. Okay, back to the 5 minutes. And again, it really has increased over time. But it's that allowance of not having to control the way we do things
Yeah.
with this dominant judgment that really is just so overwhelming. And for myself, it wasn't typical for what my natural rhythm is. And so now I've been able to apply this in various different aspects of my life where it's given me permission to do the things that I feel versus the regimented idea of now this is the next thing to do, or this is how one has to do it.
Mm.
How are you feeling receiving this information?
I feel like I can work with this, and the pressure of overwhelm is is not there. Seeing it or hearing it from a different perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, good, good. Literally go out and find what your own window of tolerance is here and feel it out for yourself. I was having a discussion with someone else about this earlier who said that if she stepped away from the computer, she would never go back to another sit.
Mm.
And it does, you know, it brings up an awareness here that what helped me was not necessarily after those 5 minutes get up and go into, the garage where I would see 10 million other projects that I could and should be doing,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Right.
Because
Right.
then I might just start a little bit here and there and then the day's gone.
Right.
So I actually personally don't leave really the room that I'm in. I just take a break. I take a break from what I was doing productively in quotes,
Mm. Got it.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I feel done with my snuggles and my love up and with my, yay, I got my great tea, give it another 5 go. Or whatever that window is.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But discover yourself in the process. See who you are in the process.
Mm.
And we can hardly wait to hear your progress. I can't wait. I want to know what this is like for you. So wonderful. You have
Thank
lots of points for sure. You have lots of points to study, to ponder on, to journal about, and to do. We wish you so many blessings. Thank
thank
you for
you.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Until next time, we send you all our love, so many blessings. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I would like to invite you to share, to like, to add comments if any part of this podcast has assisted you, or if you would like to give some support and some love to the individual that we were helping here, please leave all the comments below. And we'd also like to invite you, if you are interested in participating in this podcast and receiving one of these one-on-one coaching calls, or are interested in any of the other services that we offer, please go to my website. That is www.attheheartofitall.com. Once again, it has been our absolute pleasure, and we send you